The Race Driver franchise is something close to the heart of many sim racing fans out there, and with Grid Legends, this famed game series finally makes its return. DTM Race Driver was one of my first driving games back then on the PS2, and I can't wait to dive back in, revving it up. But as most of us switched from a gamepad to a full-fledged simulator, the question occurs, is Grid Legends a game you can enjoy as a sim racing fan? I had the pleasure to claw my hands into it in the last couple of days, and have to say, there is a lot of good that also should excite us sim racing fans. Welcome back to Overtake.gg, my name is Champion Joe and today we have a closer look at EA's and Codemasters' Grid Legends, which releases today on PC and on both the old and new console generations from Sony's PlayStation as well as the Xbox. As a spiritual successor to the Race Driver franchise, once again the focus lies on a story-driven single-player experience paired with a casual and easy to get into driving style that is especially catered to fans of real-life track racing cars. So first of all, it's not a sim, it's simcade at best, but there are some features in there that make Grid Legends enjoyable for fans of hardcore simulations. So let's get right into that and answer the question if this is a game you should give a chance to. However, you should definitely give this channel a chance to be your #1 source of everything sim racing. So leave a like if you enjoy the ride, hit that sub button and ring the bell to never miss a thing. The story mode seems like a good reason to play Grid Legends, right? After all, that was one of the biggest assets of past titles in the series. And I would agree, the story is a strong suit of Grid Legends. You play as driver number 22, a young and inexperienced rookie that gets a chance with the struggling Seneca Racing team, which are desperately searching for a recruit to race in the semi-pro series alongside veteran Yume Tanaka. To tell the story, Grid Legends falls back on real-life actors who portray the most important characters in cutscenes before the races and in audio transmissions at the racetrack. At first, I found the acting to be a bit cringe.
I hope I don't say anything stupid. Don't record anything stupid, yeah? You alright, dear? Tom? Okay, let's get this started.
Yeah, but after some time you really appreciate the effort put into this. You get invested in the storyline, and the drama around the separate events give everything that's happening on track some value. Maybe some dialogues are really shallow, there's nothing unpredictable happening, and the way they establish villains couldn't be more clumsy.
Well, you know what? Screw the fans. They love me no matter what I do.
But overall, it's just fun to have all of this. It's like a mixture of The Office and Drive to Survive. It's behind the scenes, filmed with a shaky camera, there are dramatic stories told, and in between there is some racing. I like the story mode and the rise of the Seneca Racing team, even though it might not be that serious as some would have liked it to be. But what about the other half of the story mode? The actual driving, AI difficulty, and the action on track. Just like with the story, there's a lot of different stuff going on track. Usually, you compete in 3 to 5 lap short races where the game sets a goal to reach for you to advance to the next chapter. Racing varies between many different cars like touring, open wheelers, GT racing and so on, as well as on plenty city-based venues like Moscow, Havana, Paris or London. There are also some real-life tracks sprinkled in like Bathurst or Suzuka for example, but those are rather the exception than the rule. To get some variation in the formats as well, there are many different kinds of races to compete in, the usual 3-lap races, elimination competitions and even multi-class racing is in this. To be fair, I don't know if Cody has ever seen a multi-class race. Because in Grid Legends, the slower cars get a head start and you in the faster car have to catch them and overtake them, and it's strange. But anyhow, the racing is a lot of fun. That has to do with the amount of action happening, for sure, like crashes, jumps and the AI actually having some personality. In every race, the same names are your opponents, and some of them even have speaking roles in the cutscenes, which gives the battles you have on track so much more meaning. That paired with the DNFs and actual accidents happening on track makes for a fun combination. And there's also the rival system, where you will get more aggressive driving behavior from opponents when you hit them in a race multiple times. But to be honest, it's not that big of a deal. Most of the time it has no real impact on the gameplay. They will defend a little harder, don't get me wrong, but in the end the game is just too easy to have this as a difference maker. So if you're planning on giving Grid Legends a go after this review and you see yourself as a sim racing veteran, maybe start with the hardest difficulty. I had no problems keeping up, and it was the only setting where I really had to focus and repeat some races to hit the set goals to advance to the next story piece. So I think Grid Legends is a little bit on the easy side. After the story mode is before the career mode. Grid Legends also comes with a huge career mode that can keep you entertained for multiple hours on end. But unfortunately, this is the same old stuff we've seen thousands of times before. You start in the rookie series with not a lot of money, you enter competitions, earn some credits, unlock new cars and series, blah blah blah. The only real innovation here is the RPG-like skill tree, where you can unlock some perks for your teammate or the mechanic. It's not the next Witcher, but definitely a way we could go more often in future racing games. But all in all, the career mode was pretty bland in my eyes. All that excitement about the racing in the story mode is not present here. You don't feel like anything is on the line. The AI opponents are meaningless now, and it feels just more like grinding away races rather than building up your own team. The only plus point I found was that you can play the complete career mode together with your friends, and that your pals even can hop into ongoing races without having to wait until the next one starts. I think some players will have fun with the career mode. For me, that wasn't the case. But hey, not the end of the world, let's move on to graphics and sound. Graphically, Grid Legends can hold its ground. As you've seen on all the footage so far, the game can look beautiful under the right circumstances. Night and day, as well as weather effects like rain and snow, are done properly and are accompanied by many different visual effects like confetti or fireworks that round up the, on the whole, atmospheric ambience. Where it sometimes hangs is with the graphics. There are often elements wrongly placed or they pop up where they don't belong, but all of those issues were communicated by EA beforehand and should be gone after the day one patch, so let's hope for that. And there's also some eye candy for us sim racing fans. All the cars in the game are also modeled from the inside. Seeing all those different vehicles up close leaves a very coherent impression and is fun to play from a cockpit perspective, especially as you can choose from 3 different angles. That makes the driving with a wheel as individually adjustable as possible. Good stuff there. And I also like the sound design. Just have a listen how the sound shifts from the third-person perspective to the cockpit perspective. Thumbs up from me there. That, paired with the real-life tracks coming pretty close to what you know from The Sims, convinces with an overall coherent picture. But how does it drive now? Let's have a look. If you are sporting a Logitech, Thrustmaster or Fanatec wheel like I do, you are good to go to start playing right out of the box. The calibration was easy and just like you know it from other titles like iRacing for example. Even my non-Fanatec pedals got recognized immediately and worked without any hassle. Good news for sim racing fans, but how complex is the physics engine? How much feel is there for the cars via FFB? To put it simply, it's alright. I would describe it like playing Need for Speed with a gamepad, just with the laser precision of a steering wheel. It still plays like an arcade title, with you sliding into corners, not having to brake that often, and cars performing over the limitations of what's possible in real life. But in what it does, the FFB feels believable and communicates well what the car is doing on track. Best example, the trophy trucks you encounter multiple times in the story mode. They react really sensitive on steering and pedal inputs because of their soft body suspension. They lean super far back while accelerating, they get pushed down in the front while braking, and lose their balance when driven too abruptly in sharp turns. You can feel that in the FFB. But on the other hand, there's no road feel, so no bumps or curbs, and the overall communication between game and player revolves around a self-aligning force most of the time. So, is Grid Legends a game you should consider as a sim racing fan? Maybe. If you're searching for a lighthearted story mode with some of the coolest cars out there, Grid Legends delivers a fun experience you can't find in many other racing games. Yes, it's definitely not a sim, and if you're searching for one in Grid Legends, you won't find it. So it's rather something you would play to catch a breath from all the ACC hustle. I had fun playing, especially with my wheel. So if you already have all the equipment at home and want to play a fun single player career, give it a shot. It can be fun. What do you guys say about Grid Legends? Have you already tried it? If so, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you need more sim racing action, go and visit overtake.gg, and if you are also unsure if you can play Forza Horizon 5 with a wheel, check out my review in the top right where I answer just that. But that's it from me today. Thank you so much for tuning in and see you next time around. Cheers!